draft here at World Championship 29. I'm going to send it on over to Marshall and Paul with the call.
Thank you, Maria. Welcome to the booth here at the World Championship. Marshall Sutcliffe with Paul Chion. Thank you so much for coming along with us here. We're just about to get started with our first draft of the tournament. And as they talked about at the desk, Paul, it has a unusually high weight for the results of the tournament by the end.
Yeah, so you have your typical Pro Tour, which has 16 rounds. Going into this, we're looking at 14 rounds, which means 6 of the 14 rounds is going to be limited, which we, of course, love.
Love it.
And it just means that in this field, you need to prepare a little more for the draft portion of the event because it's a few percentage points more important.
That's right. Take a look at the table here for our first draft. We're going to be following along with Nathan Steuer, your reigning world champion. You can see as you look around the table here, Francesco's going to be on Nathan's right and then Benton on the left there. See a mixed crew with Nathan in the upper right there. And we're going to be following along with him, try to get a good feel for what him and his team
packs. Make sure you have 3 packs that
decided was good in this format. Let's take a look here at Pack 1, Pick 1. This will likely set the tone for the rest of Nathan's draft, though good drafters will stay open, make sure that you don't get committed too early, but every pick counts, and of course your first picks are usually your strongest, so you are incentivized to try to stay in those colors. Let's see what he's going to find here.
So, yep, you got it.
Yeah, I think coming into the format, I think red is generally the color that most players seem to think is the best color, followed closely by black.
That's
right. A lot of great removal spells, the 2 premium removal spells in the format being in those colors, and they're also very deep.
Yeah, green is kind of in the middle, blue and white tend to be the colors that are pulling up the rear. All right, let's take a look at Pack 1, Pick 1 here for Nathan.
Okay.
Ooh, I see up the beanstalk already.
There's a
Witchstalker Frenzy.
Witchstalker Frenzy is a premium removal spell. That's the card that I would
Torch the Tower.
There's a Torch the Tower as well. And, I mean, those are the 3 picks here. There's an Oversold Cemetery, which is a little bit slow.
Little ambitious.
A little ambitious. So for me, I'd be looking at, those are all 3 fine picks. I like being in red. So personally, I'd be leaning towards one of the 2 removal spells here. Probably the Witchstalker Frenzy because it is a better splash card.
Yeah, I like that. Up the beanstalk, though. That's interesting because Nathan pulled that to the front from the get-go, and he took it.
All right, well, Nathan prioritizing perhaps a longer game plan here, going with up the beanstalk, perhaps higher on green in this format. Green is also nothing to sniff at. Very deep as well, very strong. And if you first pick up the beanstalk, oh, wow.
Look at this. You first pick up the beanstalk and you get Bramble Familiar and Welcome to Sweet Tooth passed to you. Familiar rock solid at the rare slot, but Welcome to Sweet Tooth is one of the best uncommons in the set.
Yeah, I'm looking at Welcome to Sweet Tooth here. This card is phenomenal. I mean, just for 2 mana, you just get so much.
You really do.
And on top of that, I mean, I've had this card give 4 or 5 +1/+1 counters in the Golgari food deck.
That's right.
So that would be something that I'm considering. Now, of course, Bramble Familiar is also an excellent card. It's a ramp effect with the up the beanstalk, but I just can't pass Welcome to Sweet.
Ooh, he's going to go with the Familiar. So this might be a nod to up the beanstalk. Right, a ramp card to try to get you to those 5 drops. The cool part about Up the Beanstalk is that you can somewhat free roll it, right? You can play it for 2, get your card back, and then even if you're not stacked up on 5s or more, that's okay. You get your card, you can stack it to bargain, do something with it later anyway.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're kind of committed to trying to do the Up the Beanstalk thing, I think Bramble Familiar, everybody's looking at that flashy 7-mana adventure, but for the most part, it's a 2-mana creature, and I feel like that effect is a little more replaceable because you have the Root Rider Fawn in the format.
Right, yeah, no, I'm a little surprised.
Yeah.
I am a little surprised he took it there. But again, those 2 cards that he first picked do go well together, and that could be it. He's pulled Sir Armont to the front here, so there's a 5-mana. Well, there we go. So 5-mana card. Now, green-white in the format. Thoughts?
I think it's okay, but the nice thing about being a base green deck is you can just play whatever color you want. Oftentimes, you can just go green-black with a splash, green-red with a splash. You have so many great color fixers in the format with the Root Rider Fawn and cards like Brave the Wilds where you can just happily splash Sir Armont if you need to.
And it looks like he's pulled Red Tooth Genealogist to the front. What else is in this pack?
There's a Shatter the Oath, which is also nice with Up the Beanstalk if you want to go. Because generally, I like drafting kind of the black-green mid-range deck with a splash. And with the Up the Beanstalk, that's something that you might want to do. But also trying to read the signals, taking the Genealogist, it is the safe pick. You're trying to cut off green. Totally fine.
Goes well with Sir Armont. Like that's a on theme pick, let's say.
Yep.
Also,
Pick up the
you know,
pack. You have
one thing that
25
Nathan will be thinking
seconds.
about here is trying to solidify himself into green, as those are where his strongest cards are, and then maybe delaying the second color choice till the next pack. Though he is pulling Twin Veil Guide to the front.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, doesn't look like any good green cards out of this pack. Ooh, there's another nice red with a Ratcatcher Trainee.
Yeah, Ratcatcher Trainee, much
5
better in the
seconds.
aggressively slanted decks. I'm talking, you're looking at red, white, red, black, potentially red, green. You can draft red, green a certain way.
Shuffle and lay out
Not
10
so good in
cards
the
to your
up the
left.
beanstalk type strategy where, you know, making 2 1/1s that can't block, not really that great.
Pick up the
So,
pack. You have
Only good for
25
bargaining,
seconds.
and that's not really what that deck's about. But he did take the Twin Veil Guide. There's a Bestial Bloodline.
wow, just
The Iron
immediately
Crag.
putting the Iron Crag there. I mean, you do have a legendary creature.
Yeah,
Already, right?
yeah.
You get that +3/+3 effect. I am seeing some red cards here. I mean, not premium red cards, but we did see the Ratcatcher
5
Trainee.
seconds.
There's a Boundary Lands Ranger and a Grabby Giant.
Grabby
So
Giant,
that's
too.
something to consider when you're looking at the packs. You go,
Draft.
I'm seeing some red
Shuffle
here,
and lay out
right?
9
And so
cards to your
just
left.
something to consider when you're passing. It's like, is red potentially open?
Yeah, it does look like Nathan is leaning into this 5-drop kind of ramp with up the beanstalk strategy here,
Pick up
though.
the
He's
pack.
going to have
You
an
have 20
enchantments
seconds.
theme going on as well. And we'll see how that goes. Of course, the rolls play that part in this particular format.
And another Boundary Lands Ranger here. So it does seem like Gruul might have been a decent consideration here. Also, one thing to note is he took that Twinville Guide 5th.
5 seconds.
I don't know
Yeah.
if I've ever taken that card that highly before.
I haven't played much of it.
I haven't
I
either.
tried it early and was not
Right.
impressed. Wow,
Shuffle
Ariad's
and lay
Whisper
out
is going to
8
be the
cards
take
to
now.
your
from the
left.
store. This is interesting. So what we're seeing from him is not only the willingness to play 3 colors, which
Keep
as
your
you,
cards
as you
in the
mentioned
single
isn't
file,
a
please.
huge tax in this format, but this
Pick up
format
the
could be
pack.
very
You have 20
fast.
seconds.
Absolutely. One
And
of
he's
the
taking a much slower
Right.
strategy.
One of the best performing decks is that red-white aggressive strategy with a ton of 1-drops. We're talking about Ginger Brute, Harried Spearguard. You just have a lot of those cards, so you do need to draft in a way where you can try to keep up
5
with it. But
seconds.
it looks like Nathan's strategy here is to go a little bit longer, a little bit slower here.
Interesting. Ferocious Werefox is going to be the
Drafts.
pick here.
Lay out
A
7
fine
cards to
green
your
playable.
left.
That's just going to kind of fill in the gaps for Nathan here.
Yeah.
Pick up the
I'm
pack.
curious to
You
see
have
if he ends
15
up in black or
seconds.
white, because there's a big gap in performance between green-black, which is arguably the best color
Right.
pair, and green-white, which is very much in the middle.
Yeah, and perhaps that's the
5
reason why
seconds.
Nathan took that Ariad's Whisper.
Right.
Probably not looking to put it into his deck, but maybe just trying to cut off any black cards that he
Drafts.
can, just so
Lay
that
out
he
6
could
cards
potentially
to your
end up in
left.
some kind of green-black base deck, splash white, or green-white
up the
deck,
pack. You have
maybe
10
splashing some
seconds.
candy grapples if you can see something like
Yeah,
that.
he took Stingblade Assassin, so another black card there.
5
Now he has
seconds.
Tempest Heart, Garrick's Uprising, which sometimes has overlap with 5-drops,
Drafts.
but he's
Lay
just
out
going to go for
5
the heart
cards.
here.
Yeah, Garrick's Uprising just has not done it for me. It just
Pick
has,
up the
it's
pack.
been
You
But you know
extremely
what else
underwhelming.
hasn't? Tempest Heart.
Right, that is fair. But Up the Beanstalk, however,
Absolutely.
has been fantastic.
Absolutely.
5 seconds.
Interestingly, that's another card that puts pressure on him having these 5-mana
Drafts.
spells.
Lay
Right.
out 4 cards.
He has one, I
Pick up the
believe,
pack.
just Sir
He's
Armont
got
at this
5
point?
Yeah, he's got one. You know, he's looking for cards like Hamlet Glutton. That's one of the
Oh,
best.
yeah.
One of the best cards that you can bargain out early.
Lay out 3
You draw a
cards.
card, gain 3 life.
Pick up the pack.
Is that what you
have
called me
5
at dinner
seconds.
last night? The Hamlet Glutton?
Yeah, I mean, I was pretty impressed with what you were able to put down. So.
Another Ariad's Whisper
Drafts.
here late
Pass
for
2
Nathan,
cards.
but
Pick up 2 cards.
yeah, I'm
You have
assuming
5
he's not really
seconds.
high on that particular card. He picked up
Right.
something green there, though I didn't
Go ahead
quite
and pass
catch
your
it.
last card. Please keep your
And
cards
then
face
the
down.
last card's going to be a basic land.
Yeah, so
So he's
You
got some
have 60
decisions to
seconds
make.
to read
yeah,
your
I mean,
picks.
this is a little bit of a rough start here. All we know is that Nathan is green, right? Likely looking to splash to Sir Armont, but outside of that, I mean, you know, looking for some interaction here. Also, probably wants to try to figure out what his second color is going to be.
It's like it was Bestial Bloodline as that last card, which it's a card you can put in your deck sometimes.
But
Boy, so right now he's pushed towards this rampy 5-mana or more archetype, but he doesn't. He only has the 1 5-drop,
right,
but he does have Iron Crag and the Bramble Familiar to help pump out maybe potential 5-drops coming up, and of course up to Beanstalk that we mentioned.
And you have to think 5-drops aren't too tough to come by, right?
No.
You can only play so many unless you draft the way that Nathan has with already 2 ramp
5
spells in his
seconds.
deck.
Right.
So
and you can get a Beanstalk Worm. Like that's
Yeah.
not a
Yeah, perhaps
Like
if
the
you want
Glutton's a
Return your
card.
cards
if you
to a
wanted to go
single
black,
face-down
Shatter the
pile.
Oath is also just really nice with Up the Beanstalk.
Pick up the
There you
pack
go.
label
Thing,
B.
draw a card.
Same as
And he
before,
didn't get a
please
Shatter
turn
the
one
Oath yet,
card
right?
around
He had
so
the
that it cannot
opportunity
be
to
seen.
pick one, but he did not.
Okay, pack 2, pick
Lay
1
out 15
incoming.
cards face down, making sure we don't mix
And
them
let's
up
take
with
a
your
look
current
at
picks.
where he steers this draft, because he does have some decisions to make about what he wants his secondary color to be. He could play all 3, but he would need to dedicate a few picks to
Pick up the
fixing.
pack. You have
And
40
currently, he
seconds.
doesn't have a lot tempting him in multiple directions.
Right. Oh.
What did he find? Oh, a Tough Cookie.
Yeah, and you're
That's the one.
You're gonna slam that one. Tough Cookie is one of the best uncommons in the set.
What's
one of the
for
reasons
dessert,
to be
baby?
Green, yeah, one of the reasons to be green is it just has access to 3 of the best uncommons. He did pass one in pack 1, which was Welcome to Sweet Tooth, but Tough Cookie is a phenomenal Magic card.
He should have taken that Welcome to Sweet Tooth. Tough Cookie plus Sweet Tooth.
Ooh,
Get
that is
out of here.
nice.
He's also pulled other green cards up to see what he might wheel, and look at what he's got second there. Beanstalk Worm. He
Yeah.
wants
5
5s,
seconds.
you know, because he's got a Red Tooth Vanguard below, which is, you know, more powerful on average, but, you know, he does
Draft.
need a few 5s to kind of make this deck go.
Yeah, it's not unreasonable
Lay
to
out 14
table
cards
a
to your
Beanstalk
right.
Worm. It's
Not
not
at
something
all.
that people really prioritize highly. So Nathan should have a
Pick up
decent
the
shot
pack.
of being
You have
able to
40
table that one.
seconds.
Okay, let's see what he can pick up now.
Ooh, okay, a
Back
second
for
of
seconds.
Pollen Shield Hair. I'm not sure
Yeah,
how many
he's
token
not
things
doing
he
the
has.
tokens thing.
And he's not super aggressive. Sir Armont
Oh,
looks
okay.
really tempting here, right? You already have an Up the Beanstalk. You have an Iron Crag, which goes really well with the Sir Armont.
Mm-hmm.
So I would probably be looking at one of the 2 creatures. One card I have been less impressed with is Curse of the Werefox. I just,
Not a fan?
not the, I mean, I'll play it, but I'm just not going to take it early. I just found that, you know, often you're not really doing this turn
5
3 all that
seconds.
often.
Oh, he just took it. This is
Yeah.
interesting. Well, you know, wheeling Sir Armont,
Drafts.
that's
Shuffle
likely.
and lay out
It could happen,
People
yes.
don't splash for that card,
Right.
and there's only one archetype that wants it. It's not a popular archetype.
Pick up the
I
pack,
actually
you have
like that
35
gamble there.
seconds.
He would like a second copy of it, but it is a second copy of a legendary creature, so it's lesser value.
Yeah, I mean, that's totally fair. The thing is, he's green-white, and he has no removal right now.
Yeah.
So he's
picking
recognizing
up
the
that
hole
curse.
in his deck and just taking that Curse of the Werefox.
Now he's got a few good white cards to pick from: a cheeky House Mouse, stockpiling Celebrant. There is a Prophetic Prism if he wants to try to. This is what I was talking about. We're needing to dedicate some picks if he wants to try to splash multiple colors here. But it looks like he's solidifying
5
himself
seconds.
just into green-white by taking the Celebrant
Yeah,
here.
I'm a big fan of the stockpiling Celebrant. It's actually one of the best white
Draft.
commons in this set.
It is.
There's just so
Shuffle
much you
and
can
lay
do.
out
If you pick
12
up some
cards
hopeful
to the right.
vigils, you can pick those up. And there's just a lot of things that come into play and have an
Pick up the
effect
pack.
where
You
this
have
is just a
30
great card to have
seconds.
in your deck. Ooh, that's a Root Rider Fawn.
Okay, there's
happy,
a
happy addition.
really, really nice. Still just the 1/5 drop. There's a Totentan's Animonstrosity in this pack. I just, those black and red cards kind of stand out to me.
Yeah,
You know,
Voracious Vermin. There's just a ton
Right.
of stuff there.
somebody's going to get him at the table. And
Right.
remember, we're playing in pod
5
here at
seconds.
the World Championship. So whatever Nathan's passing, he has to play against
Yep.
some point if he's going to try to win this
Draft.
pod.
I mean, he didn't see a whole
Shuffle
lot of
and
black
lay
in
out
pack 1,
11
so the person
cards to
passing
the
to him
right.
likely isn't black and is getting rewarded here in pack 2.
Pick up the pack.
But
You
a
have
solid start here
25
for Nathan. He
seconds.
got some interaction, got some cheap spells.
Yeah.
One of the best uncommons in the set.
Man, this pack doesn't look super great for him.
Yeah, this one is not
What can he
as
even
ideal.
take? Bestial Bloodline's a card he got literally last pick.
Yeah, so there's a Ruby, which is just a phenomenal card, but he has no red cards.
5 seconds.
But there's just no green or white card I'd be happy putting into my deck.
Yeah. Looks like he's just going to
Draft.
cut a Vermin here.
Shuffle and lay out 10 cards to the right.
That he's just taking that from somebody else. I don't think that he's even considering that for
Right.
Pick up
his
the pack.
actual
You have
deck.
25 seconds.
Though I suppose he could veer into black.
Yeah.
There's back for seconds.
Yeah, and
He pulled that to the front before. I think he likes that card. He didn't end
Yeah.
up taking it, but it was just like this where he whipped it right to the front.
Yeah,
Oh,
I've-
and he took it.
it's a solid value card. It's been a little bit worse than I thought it'd be just because of the speed of the
5
format. I
seconds.
found that the format's quite fast.
Yeah.
So sometimes you just don't have the opportunity to do this. But, I mean,
Draft.
there was really nothing else in that pack for him. So
Shuffle
it
and
looks like
pass 9
Nathan at this point is
cards.
kind of green base and kind of waffling between black and white
Pick
and
up
just
the
trying to
pack.
figure
You have
out
20
what
seconds.
what his second color is going to be, but just not getting a lot of interaction.
No, Scarecrow Guide, and there's not much else for him here.
Lot of
Beautiful
blue
Griffin's
cards.
been a big flop.
Yeah.
Though it is a 5-mana card, although it is double white, and it seems like he's just touching.
Huh. Okay, so looking to pick up the fixing here, but you know, in the beginning, I thought he was looking to try to draft around that up the beanstalk, but he is passing a bunch of these 5-mana cards.
Pick up the pack. You have 20 seconds.
Did feel like that to me as well.
Oh.
Whoa! Speaking of up the beanstalk, he pack one, pick one'd it, and now he's getting it, what, 8th?
All right. Well, now he's really going to be hoping for that Sir Armand to take.
Yeah, and it'll be the next pick too. Right. So.
And that was pick 8, so this is the pack that had the beanstalk worm. So he's really hoping that one's going to table here.
So he can table the beanstalk worm and then table the Sir Armand?
That would be ideal.
GG.
Pick up the pack.
You don't see it. You don't see it, you might be in trouble.
Oh, no worm in this one.
No worm.
Another Scarecrow guide, basically a blank.
And unsurprisingly, lots of blue as well, as that is considered to be the worst performing color.
Yeah, there's good cards here too. Johann Stopgap still in the pack. Somebody's going to be happy.
Shuffle and lay out 6 cards to the right.
You can play blue as a support color.
Pick up the pack.
Yeah, I've had success.
Not deep enough
I've
to
had
be your
success
mate.
drafting blue-red. That's the only combination that I'm okay drafting when I'm drafting blue.
We are playing best 2 out of 3, of course, rather than. I know a lot of you play, you know, premier drafts on Arena, but this is 2 out of 3. So a card like Spider Food that he just picked up here is actually a valuable sideboard card that he'll be able to bring in if he wants.
So just noting that the worm and also Sir Armand did not table.
Yeah,
so somebody
that's
took that.
rough.
And he's taking a sec. So Nathan prioritizing the sideboard cards. Spider Food can be extremely strong if you're playing against a deck with a bunch of flyers, but did pass on a Charmed Clothier, which is, again, another 5-drop for the double beanstalk. Right now, we're looking at a double beanstalk deck with only 1 5-drop.
That's tough. There's another Bishop Bloodline. Phyrexian Unlife was picked up as well.
2 cards, pick up the pack, collect the last card. Perfect. Please put
And
everything
there
in a
goes the
single file
basic
for me.
land over. Okay, so now we are 2/3 of the way through our opening draft here with Nathan Steuer.
You have 90 seconds.
This
Look
is
your picks.
high pressure drafting from our reigning world champ. The players will now get a minute and a half to review their packs, or their picks, excuse me. And what they'll usually do here is start to put things into roughly mana cost order so that they can get an idea for what spots on the curve they want to fill out. Now, there's not going to be a big mystery about that particular question here because Nathan desperately needs 5 mana spells, especially after getting that very late up the beanstalk there in pack number 2 after pack 1 pick 1-ing it.
Yeah, he's got a couple of options there for the lower part of the curve, so just really needs to find some of the decent 5-drops. There's a lot, but you might even see him take something like a Beanstalk Worm earlier just to make sure that he has something there, right? Because you really want to leverage those up the beanstalks in some way, right?
I mean, you just need a few.
You don't need that many.
Three, 5 drops?
Look, you're not going to win in this format with 6 5-drops in your deck, right? So you're only going to need a couple, but you do need some.
Interesting vibe too, you know, based on translating what I'm seeing him pick and how he's approaching things with regards to what cards he's pulling to the front of the pack and then of course which ones he actually selects. It feels like he thinks this format isn't that fast.
Yeah.
You know, like Back for Seconds is a slow card even in this format, and he's just like, yeah, sure. You know, Up the Beanstalk, you and I both like it quite a bit, but we know we're a little on the fringe with that, and he's just like slams it pack 1, pick 1.
Yeah, Up the Beanstalk is certainly a card that I enjoy playing. It gives you a lot of value. It's really fun to play with, but I mean, when you have a pack with that, or one of the best premium removal spells in the format in a card like Torch or Witchstalker Frenzy, that's tough.
Right. But it wasn't a question for him. There's, of course, also the idea that he's passing 2 red cards and can kind of flood that out so that he can clear the way for his green stuff later to the players to his right. Or to his left, excuse me. All right, pack 3, pick 1, about to come up. Can Nathan Steuer fill in the gaps
Pick up the pack.
on this Up the Beanstalk deck that he's got going? Let's see what he finds. Edgewall pack.
I don't see anything yet. Okay,
Candy Grapple.
Candy Grapple. So right now he's kind of in between white and black as his secondary color with a green base. So I think he's just going to go take the Candy Grapple. He's really lacking in removal. So I think you can just find a way to put this in your deck. He does have a Scarecrow. Can maybe hopefully table this Brave the Wilds, although
Root Rider Fawn's there.
Root Rider Fawn's in the deck.
Yeah, there's a Brave the Wilds in this pack as well that he probably wouldn't mind, but it's not really the slot that he needs to fill at this point.
Right.
I am curious what he does mana-wise, because, you know, now we're leaning back towards black, though there is also the option of both if he wants.
Yeah, but this card is just so good.
Yeah, premium removal at common.
And casting this on the bargain in this format, it's fairly trivial. There's so many things that create food or treasure or something.
Agatha's champion, Paul.
That is nice.
Pulled that one right to the front. So you said he needed removal and 5 drops.
It's perfect.
Can I interest you in an Agatha's champion?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is also a premium green uncommon here. Nathan's going to slam this.
I mean, that has to be the best uncommon that he could open.
Oh,
because it's a little bit below Tough Cookie.
I think
and Welcome, but like it's here probably better.
I think it's likely that and Gingerbread Hunter.
Yeah,
those are the two that he wants to open, right?
Especially because he's already touching black. Yeah, you're right. And both of them, by the way, are removal on a 5-drop.
Exactly.
Shuffle
exactly.
and lay out 13 cards to your left. Pick up the pack.
So this has gone well for him to start.
Yeah, really solid start.
Pack 3, pick 1. There's a Monstrosity. There's also a Hollow Scavenger.
Yep, and I imagine, I mean, given that you know that you are for sure heavy green.
Yeah, I think you go Scavenger.
I think you're just going to go.
It's close.
You're going to go with the Scavenger. There's also Sweet Tooth Witch, but I think the Scavenger is still a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
And
I like Scavenger here. Monstrosity is a good card. It sees a ton of play.
Right.
But we still don't know to what extent he's going to splash black, or if he's just straight up green-black at this point, then maybe the Monstrosity.
Yeah.
But
he could have like a 9/4/4 mana base, right, with some white and some black cards. So
yeah, Scavenger's overperformed for me.
Yeah,
pick up the pack.
It's good.
You have 30 seconds.
It's, I mean,
wow.
What a start here!
Mosswood Dread Knight, really?
That, and a Howling Gale. I mean, you're going to take the Dread Knight here, but...
Yeah, Howling Gale Fang a step below.
Right.
Wow.
Wow, this is...
Pack 3 has been really good for Steuer.
Great start here, Pack 3 for Nathan.
5 seconds.
There's a collector's vault for you 5-color fans out there as well.
And I think we're going to be seeing a good amount of this card, as it is a heavily played card also in the Golgari mid-range deck in Standard.
Yeah, that's going to be a 3-day card right there.
25 seconds.
Okay, so this really could not have gone better here for Steuer. Oh, he still would like another 5. Wow, Utopia Sprawl now as well?
And a Beanstalk Worm. And one of my favorite combat tricks in the format, too, in Royal Treatment. Probably not the card he's looking for right now, but it is a very solid card. And this is tough because Utopia Sprawl is a much better card.
Like, it's broken for this type of format.
Right. It is a much better card than Beanstalk Worm. But at the same time, we're kind of low on 5s.
Draft.
I would take Utopia Sprawl.
I agree.
The starts you get off of Sprawl, especially since he's base green, he's going to have, what, 10 green sources in this deck? Or forests, I should say?
Right.
Yeah, that's too much.
And that's another Hollow Scavenger.
All
So
right.
this is a phenomenal Pack 3 here for Nathan, who had kind of a rocky start in Packs 1 and 2.
He did. Yeah, it is tough to pass a 5-drop when, well, you know, you and I were saying you can pick one up. It's all good. Well, that hasn't happened. They haven't been flying around, but Utopia Sprawl is just broken. Plus, you know, he does want to play Sir Armont, I'm assuming.
Right.
And if you've got a Fawn and a Utopia Sprawl, like, you can probably get away with it. But Sprawl's just too good. I mean, I play that in Vintage Cube. Like, I'm sorry, I'm playing it here too.
Anything that's 1 mana that taps for it, that gives you, that can fix you and ramp you, has historically always just been great. So.
It's a Mox in this format.
Yeah.
Titanic Growth.
I think that's
not much
only,
else.
I mean, he's already got a couple He's already got a couple of Scarecrow Guides. This is certainly not a Ginger Brute deck. There are decks that have a home for that card.
Oh, somebody's going to want that one.
Oh yeah, there's going to be a Boros deck out there that wants that, but it's not going to be the Golgari deck.
Yeah. Paul Cheon fans will be devastated to find out that that's basically your signature card in the format.
Look, I took a lot of losing before I decided to try that. One card I want to note, by the way, in this pack is that Totentans. That has no business being in this pack still. That whoever ends up with that card,
that's the second one.
If somebody is in red-black, right?
That'll put somebody in red-black even this late. I mean, that's the second one. There was one in the second pack going around too.
That is wild to see a card this powerful this late in the pack in one of the best color combinations.
He picked up a Charmed Clothier there.
And a Rowan as well.
There's a 5. Oh man, Rowan Scion of War.
5 seconds.
Gonna cut it? He's gonna cut it! Yeah,
all right.
Whoever's black-red doesn't get to have the free-for-all. They're gonna have to face a little bit of friction here from Steuer.
And with all the ramp in Nathan's deck, I mean, and he needs to play 5s, so he's gonna put that
5
Clothier in his deck,
seconds.
right?
So you think he's going to splash white and black?
I believe that's. I don't think he has enough playables. First of all,
I agree.
So
and this gives him Sir Armont and the Clothier.
Right, Sir Armont and the Clothier for the double up the beanstalk that he has. You really want to kind of maximize on that.
We're definitely in do
5
what you got to do mode at this point. There's another Toon Veil guide.
Drafts. Lay out 4 cards to your left. Pick up the pack. You have 5 seconds.
It's funny because Nathan's demeanor going into pack 2 was like maybe a little nervous. Dark Tutelage pretty
Pass
late
3
here.
cards to the left.
He looks a lot more calm now after that 3rd pack.
Yeah.
That hooked him up.
Right, absolutely.
Like his deck went from like a C-
Pass 2
to like a
cards,
solid
pick up 2
B
cards.
off of the 3rd pack.
Yeah, I think
Pass
so.
the final
He got
card.
some bombs.
He got just some raw
You can draft it
power.
if you
I
like.
mean, we're looking at a deck that's got
Folks,
Tough
next
Cookie,
thing we're gonna
Agatha's
do is
Champion,
you're gonna take
Mosswood
your
Dread Knight,
45
right?
cards.
With a
Make
couple
sure
up the
that all of them
beanstalks.
have
Not
a
the
stamp on
not
them
necessarily
before we leave the
the
table.
best 5-mana options, but you still have some.
Yeah.
Right. So you can kind of go into that late game, have some ramp. I mean, I think he ended up with a pretty reasonable deck with the help of that incredible pack 3.
Definitely, yeah. And we mentioned at the beginning, he's got 2 up the beanstalk. It does allow you to kind of free roll it. And what I mean by that is you can just simply play it, get your card back, and just sack it to bargain later. And you don't have to build around with all these 5s and stuff. If you can get a card back off it later, great. Yeah. But you can even put it in your deck just as a cantrip playable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You can just play. Now, we'll note that his deck is a little bit light on bargain. He only, I think, has the Candy Grapple. And excuse me, also the Agatha's Champion.
And so, did he get it back for seconds?
Oh yeah, you're right. You're right. He did get it. He did get it. So there's still some there.
Yeah, but it's not that much.
Right.
You're right.
It's not a huge cost to play into your deck, so you don't really need to draft up the beanstalk and a million 5-drops to be successful.
Let's take a look at what. Yeah. Okay. So he is playing all 3 colors. He's got the Scarecrow guide in there. Whoa! He's got Dark Tutelage in there.
Dark Tutelage is pretty bold.
I don't think I've ever seen that on the battlefield.
I've played against it when my opponents were playing extremely aggressive red-black decks, but a little brave in this deck, which is kind of trying to go a little bit longer potentially. I guess you have some life linking with the Tuinville guide if you could turn on the celebration. But I'm interested to see how that card performs because I'm just deathly scared that I'm going to flip over a Charmed Clothier and just die.
Definitely. Wow. All right. Well, all the raw power's in there, but a little bit shaky on the mana maybe. A little bit of a stretch there. We're going to take a short break here, Paul. When we come back, though, we'll have round number 1 here from the World Championship. Don't go anywhere.